Hi everyone, I decided to bring my Professor deck back out for a walk and look at what I have faced up against. A terrifying NBN deck that threatens to fast advance before I can even set up my entire rig. It is definitely not the most favorable matchup for the Professor, but I'll give it a shot anyway. So my opening hand has a quality time and a freelance coding contract, which means big money. I play 2 quality times and there are enough programs for me to freelance out, so that's great. But I still find myself having to discard some cards. So the extra test run has to go, and I don't really want to throw away the Akamatsu, but it also has to go. So actually that didn't do a whole lot of work. Yeah, I basically gained 5 credits with my entire turn and recycled some items into the heap. That's all. Yeah, it's not actually an ideal start, to be honest. My first run, I see a Scorched Earth, and yep, that pretty much gives away his entire deck. Yeah, that's one problem with running all 4 pointers, 4 influence pips when it comes to playing Corp. You give away a lot of your influence the moment the runner sees any of those cards. And because you're building around these splashed cards, you find that the runner suddenly has a lot of knowledge on what kind of deck you're running. And seeing that there's a shadow over R&D, now you know that you most likely there are 3 shadows in his deck and 3 Scorched Earths. Maybe only 1 or 2 Scorched Earths, but most likely he's not running any other form of influence, given that he's so heavily invested into tag and back. Alright, so because he has tag and back, I know that he wants to tag me, and what better way to do that than Seesaws and Mid-Seasons, which is Infection. The only way to beat it that I have is to bring out the Magnum Opus, so that definitely comes out quickly on. It's so important that I'm willing to spend an entire test run scavenge combo just to bring out the Magnum Opus. I think it's worth it in the long run. But of course, this heavily sets me back when it comes to getting up a proper rig, because I've used up a lot of resources in bringing out the Magnum Opus, so I don't have anything left to fish out anything else that I might need. But at least I'll stay afloat on credits and I'll prevent myself from getting scorched. But that's the problem with when facing out against NBN, because now you have to deal with the fast advance. You have to contest their agendas while making sure that you have enough credits to not get scorched. My Diesel gives me a lot of killers, which is nice. Although I really should install it first. Install one of the killers first before running. Anyway, I run into a pop-up window. Here I begin to consider my options. What do you think is behind in that remote? My Sixth Sense tells me that it's an NAPD contract, which is a perfect thing to put because you had to pay for, which means that you will suddenly be in range of Sea Scorch. And there's only a pop-up window guarding it, so he must be baiting me to steal that agenda so that he can perform the Sea Scorch combo on me. And what better way to do that than the pop-up window, which allows the runner through, but taxes them, which means that they'll get Sea Scorched. So after I retrieve the agenda, turns out it's a Bill, which doesn't tax me at all. So all I need to do is to click for credits with Magnum Opus, and now I'm in safe range. He cannot Mid-Seasons me. Unless he has 2 restructures in hand, in which case he'll land a lot of tax, but otherwise there's no way he's going to be able to Mid-Seasons me for any significant number of tax. So yeah, I think right here he wasted 2 agenda points like that. If he wants to bait me with agendas, he should make sure that I cannot get up to enough credits. So he traces me for 9, which I easily beat, and yeah, that Mid-Seasons did a whole lot of nothing. I mean, I guess it's a good way to spend your ambient trace credits, but it's definitely not worth bleeding 2 agenda points over. So I would definitely say that's a misplay on his part. Moreover, after playing the hedge fund, maybe he should have played the hedge fund and mid-season trace me for more if denying credits was his intention. So overall, I think it was a rather poorly played on his part. Now I'll run into HQ and we'll see what. Ouch. It's a flare. Oh dear, oh dear. Now I know I have 3 killers in my deck and 2 of them are in my hand. believe it or not. The only killer that's not in my hand is a ninja. And to fish that out, I'll need 4 credits to install the ninja, 6 credits to pump it up to 6 strength, and 1 credit to break the subroutine, and 2 credits to fish it out with SMC because it's not in my heap. So there's no way I can break the flare. I decided to take the damage because having to pay 9 to beat the trace is just not worth it. But the most painful part about that flare was that I lost my clone chip. Having recursion is so important when I've thrown so many of my programs in the trash, and unfortunately, yes, losing my clone chip was quite a huge loss. Now I don't have any forms of heap recursion, having used my scavenge already. Alright, another scavenge appears, so that's good. But I can only do so much now. I still don't have any semblance of a rig at all. All I have is a Magnum Opus, so I'm not looking good. He really looks like he wants to get a remote going, and so he does. That definitely looks like a 3 advanced agenda, a BO and an Astro script, which definitely worries me. I have no test runs, and my fam is in my hand, unfortunately. I forced him to rest the ice. It's a data raven, and that bodes bad news for me. Yep, I definitely have no intention of running through the data raven to get tagged. To get the power token on the data raven. So instead, what I do is to host a nerf agent. I think you can tell what my plan is. Yep, I'm going to summon up my sneak door beta, and oh no, my sneak door beta is not in my stack, it's in my heap, and I have no way to get it back. I have no clone chip, I have no test run. I have a scavenge, and I think I really should have used a scavenge here on the SMC, but instead, that's definitely a mistake. I should have used the scavenge on the SMC to get the sneak door beta that I wanted. Because right now, I'm looking to be in a very weak position with him having scored the first Astro script and being able to Astro chain from hand. So I definitely need to deny him of any agendas in his hand at all. I mean, yes, R&D lock is one way, but now that I've summoned up my nerf agent already, I should be clearing his hand. So scavenge should have been the way to go, but clearly I didn't, and this is going to cost me a whole lot of trouble. He ices up R&D. Alright, now this is a juncture where I should really be scavenging for my sneak door beta. I get a quality time, and I freelance coding out a couple of my breakers, but that's not gonna do much. I'm not sure why I did that. Yeah, I guess it was to find the clone chips, the other 2 more clone chips in my deck, but it's not gonna happen. Yep, he installs something behind the pop-up window. I don't think it's an agenda. Now I go into my modded, and I decide to mod out my Dinosaurus. And knowing that that's a Sensen, I'm going to run through that server. Oh, but it's not a Sensen, it's a Jackson Howard. Alright, very well. Now this is the point I really should be scavenging something, say my imp for sneak door beta. It is so important to clear his hand, especially since I got my nerf agent. Alternatively, I can run through R&D and scavenge my nerf agent for medium. Alright, so he proceeds with the Astro Train. Now he has 2 of them. Definitely not looking good for me. I need to step up my game now. Finally draw into my clone chip. This means that I can run on R&D. It's a wraparound, and I'll get my corroder out to deal with that. Or will I? Nope. I do not get my corroder out because I wanted to save the clone chip for sneak door beta. Clearly not a wise choice because he just top decked an Astro script. So he's scoring the 3rd one now, and he's about to win. With 6 points and an Astro Secret token, I'm pretty screwed. Yep, I need to clear his hand and clear his R&D all in the same turn. And yeah, you can see him celebrating there. This was looking very, very dire for me. Although yes, I definitely made a huge bucket load of misplays. I definitely should be getting into R&D more often, and I made very, very poor use of my test runs and scavengers. The only good thing I did was to get the Magnum Opus out early. Everything else, the nerf agent was a complete waste of time and money. The SMC has done nothing. Alright, I finally get my code out. But is it too little too late? All I can do now is to lock his R&D. And I continue to fumble on my moves. I test run when I didn't intend to, and I end up scavenging, and yeah, I'm just really rusty with playing this deck. A lot of mistakes. I mean, even my choice of breakers, Alias against Shadow, is good for the first time, but once they advance it a single time, it becomes so expensive to break through. So he definitely did the right thing there in advancing the Shadow. You rarely ever do that, but with Alias, it's a very good choice. It's really taxing to get through. I need a Femme Fatale. Okay, the very fact that he hasn't won yet means that he doesn't have an agenda in hand. So I do not need to concern myself with clearing his hand anymore. I just need to lock down his R&D, and if he draws multiple times in turn, I will siege his HQ. The problem is now I'm low on credits once more, and not only does this leave me vulnerable to Sea Scorch, I find myself it's very hard to get through R&D. 1 credit for wrap around and 4 credits for Shadow. Yeah, that's very, very expensive. Yep, the only thing I can do now is to click Magnum Opus multiple times and break through R&D. Hoping beyond hope that I see an agenda, which I don't. So, yep. This would be so much more efficient had I pulled out a medium instead. This is definitely something I'm regretting now. Why did I pull out the nerf agent instead of a medium? If I pulled out the nerf agent, it means that I should be snake dooring next turn. But yes, it was very poor planning on my part. And now he's sealing up R&D, which is sealing my fate as well. And he has the Jackson Howard in the remote, which means he can shuffle his R&D and, more importantly, power draw to get that last agenda. I'm screwed, pretty much. And I'm really in dire need of a cash injection right now. So, triple Magnum, because that's the only thing I can do, and I hope that he doesn't have an agenda. Alright, sure enough, he didn't draw an agenda. And he continues crediting up. For what reason, I have no idea. All he needs is an agenda in hand for 1 turn to win. So I look at my board state. It looks really crappy, and I'm pretty hopeless right now. I chuck the Alias because it's not of any use anymore, and I get a Fem out instead. Posting it on the Dinosaurus, so it has 4 strength. I then scavenge the Fem so that now the Fem is permanently on the board, and now I can get through R&D. I will Steam Hack. As I said, I need a cash injection badly, and this gives me just that. Problem with Steam Hack is that I don't have SMC or clone chip out, so I cannot actually make full use of the 9 credits. In fact, I only spent 6 credits. 3 credits of the 9. The other 6 are going to waste. Oh, not really. I trashed the pack campaign, and then I realized after trashing that pack campaign, he might top deck an agenda. So that was a very silly move. I need to go in again and make sure that the next card he draws isn't an agenda. We'll see about that. Yes, right now I would really pay to get a medium. The ability to see multiple cards and just ensure that he won't be able to power draw through to get agendas is huge. Medium is the reason why I win games. Without medium, I'm not gonna win. Simple as that. So Shadow appears. I need to clear his hand because he power drew. Scorched Earth, Scorched Earth, Scorched Earth. Ugh. Well, okay. Now we know where all his influence went. Yep. But now I find myself on very few credits. Do I run through R&D? Yeah, I have to. I pretty much have to. So I pay 3 and get through. This would be a nice time to have Desperado as well, just saying. Putting it out there. Another pack campaign. Well, drip economy for the win, but that's not what he needs. All he needs is an agenda. So gets the pack campaign going behind the Data Raven because he can. And I noticed that on click 2 he draws, click 3 he draws. Alright, so there has to be an agenda in his hand. And his reaction. Oops. Yep, his reaction tells me that there is an agenda in his hand, so I need to go grab it. Oh no, I don't. I just get lots of money. Okay, that was a bad idea. Yep, he's gonna win this turn. Oh well. Yep, he creates a remote and scores. So yes, a lot of dire misplays on my part. Yeah, and my whole lot of programs didn't do a whole lot of good. I just picked the wrong programs for the occasion. Alias against Shadow, not that good of an idea. Summoning an imp when the imp did absolutely nothing at all. Granted, I was assuming it was a Sensen that hit the table, but still, I didn't make use of it when even after that fact. So that was a poor play on my part. My Sneak Door Beta didn't do much. My Nerf Agent, pretty useless. All around, I made horrible decisions with regards to picking my programs, and I definitely paid the price. I should also be more suit my play to the needs of the court. NBN fast advance is very, very fast, and I really shouldn't be dwelling on. Yep, I should just charge out of the gate and try to get the cheap important components set up, you know. So yeah, I need more practice playing against NBN if I want to ever become successful at playing the Professor. Professor works very well against most other decks, especially big decks like HB or Replicating Perfection, I suppose. But oh no, Replicating Perfection is pretty bad as well. But yeah, it falters to the fastest of decks, and NBN is where it shines. Thanks for watching. See you around.